hour. Curtis, are you ready? Curtis is ready. With that, we'll call our meeting to order. Has roll been taken? Success, all right. Next, approval of the agenda.
Move approval.
Support.
Any additions or deletions, corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. We have an agenda. Thank you. Welcome, Roxanne.
Thank you.
Next up, we're to have a review of the bid numbers for Alma Wastewater Treatment Plant Project. We have 3 available options before us tonight. So Eric, are you taking?
Yeah, I'll take a lead on it, then I'll have the attorney kind of step in and talk about these options. After the contingent tentative award that we did for the bid from E&L Construction Group, after a lengthy discussion, the discussion centered around going to the second lowest bid based upon the information from Fishbeck on the mechanical contractor. After that, we've had some subsequent meetings, and within the bid document under Article 12, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's that there was an opportunity to work with the low bidder if we did find one of the subcontractors not to be sufficient for what we were looking at. My discussion with everyone at that point was we are already scrambling for funds for this project. Our CWSRF is only $20.5 million at this point. We hope, as a commission, as we talked, that in August we hopefully will receive more funds. So for us to find the best costs, the costs for this project is important to us financially and to our ratepayers. Because if we decide to go forward with everything, which talking with the engineers and staff, if we shave things here or there, we're not shaving much without, it's going to be really tough. So every dollar is going to count. So I said, yes, we'll take a look at that. They did, Spence Brothers did submit an alternate subcontractor, which we have provided in option C. That particular number came in still under, as the lowest bid. It's $848,489, still less than the second lowest bid. That is an option that commission could look at as we look at the overall cost of this project. Talking with Fishbeck and at the meeting on Tuesday night, the general contractor of Spence Brothers, there's no issues with them being able to handle the project and do the project. We had the issues with the subcontractor. With subsequent discussions even from there, as information comes available and discussions, the general contractor is responsible for this, and either E&L or Spence Brothers is a very capable general contractor to get the work done. So if we go to the mechanical subcontractor, it's really up to the general to make sure they're hitting their schedules. Me and the mayor had a conference call today with Fishbeck, our engineer, who is their agent with all this. As we discussed, they are our experts with this. We've paid them to do all this front end work, and at our last meeting we approved them to oversee this project. So we're counting on their information and to walk us through everything, because we are not the experts with this. Their comments to us today is, yes, the general is responsible for all scheduling, and then which either E&L and Spence Brothers are very capable. From there, we do have, like we did approve at the last meeting, the contract for Fishbeck to oversee this project. So we have very, very capable hands of overseeing that project from that side of things as well. We have a lot of faith in them. We have a lot of faith in, from what I can gather from the information that I received and looked at for both these general contractors. counting on both the contractor, the general contractor, and the engineers to make sure this comes to fruition and what we need. This is our, as we discussed at the last meeting, from this board's point of view, it's an expensive project, it's a generational project, and once we set this in motion, hopefully we can, when we hear from the state about extra funds, if there are any extra funds, then we're going to have to make decisions on bonding out. And to the mayor's point, to earlier today, when we're looking at the lowest bid at 1.8 million, just a little over 1.8 million, and having two comparable, capable people overseeing that project, be it the general and Fishbeck, to watch out for the project and watch out for our best interest, it might be in our best interest to look at that lowest bid and move forward with that from a standpoint of we do have two very capable people to look over it. Also, I never did talk about this at the last meeting, but if we do have to go with the general bond on the private market, you're looking at 6% interest rate right now, give or take. That 1.8 turns into 6 million at the end, instead of the 2 million. So that's something to consider tonight. Those three options in front of you. Working with the attorney, those are our three options, and how to proceed with them. I'll let the attorney talk to the logistics of B and C, because A is you leave your tentative resolution as is.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. And Mr. Mayor, if I may, good evening to members of the commission. Right now, as the city manager noted, we have three options for the commission to consider this evening. If I may, just by way of relevant background, I just want to direct a few thoughts that I think the commission should remain mindful of as we think about our options. Under the instructions that were provided to the bidders, as the city manager noted, under Article 12.01 of those instructions, if the city has an objection to a subcontractor proposed by any of the bidders, the city does have the option to request that a prospective bidder provide an alternative name to replace the subcontractor for whatever the objectionable area of expertise is. So we had discussed, and the subject of discussion was the mechanical subcontractor, but it could apply to any subcontractor discipline. Ultimately, when we consider what the city is going to be guided by, those are contained in Article 19 of the bid instructions, and that provides the city with wide latitude in determining which bid to accept. The city has the authority to reject any or all of the bids. It has the authority to reject any bid it deems to be not responsible. Ultimately, it has the authority to reject any bid that it does not feel is in the best interest of the project, and that ultimately is the city's final goal, is to determine which bid it feels is in the best interest of the project and in the best interest of the city. Of course, the city will consider all the qualifications of the bidders and the bids themselves. The city has the authority and the right to conduct investigations into the bids, and that was done, that's been done by the city and is continuing to be accomplished. And again, as I said, under Article 1907, ultimately, what our sort of final goalpost is which of the bids is in the best interest of the city, which of the bids is in the best interest of the project. Under Article 2101 of the instructions, and just under applicable Michigan law, contracts are not binding until they're signed. And so at this point, what we have was a tentative award, or essentially an intent to engage. But at this point, the city still has the authority to continue its investigation and determine if the city wanted to go a different route as far as the bidder. What's in front of the city this evening are three proposed resolutions. And they're listed under the action items. Option one is to maintain the current resolution of tentatively awarding the project to E&L. Option two, or B as it's listed, is to rescind that previous resolution and award the contract and job to the low bidder of Spence Brothers, as it was provided. And then the third option, option C, is to rescind that previous resolution and award the job to the low bidder of Spence Brothers with that alternative mechanical subcontractor. So ultimately, those are the three options for the city to consider. And again, the city has the authority to make this decision, and ultimately, per the bid instructions, is just guided by what's in the best interest of the project itself and what's in the best interest of the community. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that there may be.
Okay. If any members of the commission have questions?
I have a question, the same as I had on last Tuesday. The new subcontractor, have they done a wastewater treatment plant the size of Elma in their past? The exact, not the exact same thing, but close to it. That was my concern last Tuesday.
And Michelle, I can answer to
Okay.
this point. After going through and talking with folks, the one that's done the most wastewater treatment plants, sizes always, is, for mechanical side of things,
Right.
is the second lowest bidder. Like we discussed though, when we're talking about, the financial end of things, when we're trying to do that, the general contractor is ultimately responsible for making sure those schedules are hit. They're both from a standpoint of, they definitely have had experience, they can handle the
I'm sure of
project.
that,
It really comes down to, are we more comfortable with, just leaving things as is with the dollar amount, or to look at one of those other two options and then consider that capable general contractor to oversee it, capable engineer on our side, make sure that our general contractor is making sure everything is on task. Like I said, I didn't think about, even if we didn't talk about the last meeting, about the conventional bonding, that if we, depending on whatever happens, 2 million turns into, basically, it'll turn into 6 million over that time period. So that'll affect our RTS fees and everything else that we'll have to talk about and what we charge our community. So from that standpoint, I'm confident in both general
I'm just
contractors.
asking for the experience.
Yep.
I'm not saying that either general contractor is bad, I'm just,
You have like they said in that, the memo that was provided to us from Fishbeck, the most experience from the mechanical, in their opinion, is the general mechanical from the second lowest bidder.
And from my perspective, I like the lowest bid. I think the savings are very significant when you start talking about 2 million up front and then 6% interest over 30 years. I added to that, getting you up to 5 or 6 million, like Eric said. It's significant, and we can't ignore that. It's very difficult to ignore that. And I, have no problem with either of the general contractors. So I think putting our faith in either one of them would be fine, no matter who the mechanical is, because as Eric mentioned, ultimately the general is the one responsible, and we also have additional insurance because we're going to have Fishbeck on site overseeing the project, as well as our own staff on site overseeing the project. I think, the capabilities are there. There's also bonding to the project should things go south. There is other recourse that we have. Worst case scenario, I don't expect that to happen. I wouldn't ever expect that to happen. But it is additional insurance for us that, there is protection for things going wrong. But I think the way it's laid out, the explanations I've heard from Fishbeck, I think they've got a really good handle on our facility. They've worked on it for years, I believe, and know it inside and out, and can lay out the plans and have a competent contractor take care of it for us. So, in my opinion, I would like us to go back to the original lowest bidder and take it from there. The savings is that significant.
I don't mean to interrupt. I will let you finish, and then I
think that's...
I agree 100% on the need to save money, and that it's a substantial amount of money, and it is also a substantial project that we are doing, and I was, quite frankly, disappointed to not have more direction from Fishbeck last week when we specifically asked questions about making the decision, because ultimately it is to save money, but I don't want and I don't personally know anything about either one of them or building a new wastewater treatment plant, and so I rely on Dave and Eric primarily, and Fishbeck, who we have paid lots of money for a lot of projects over the years, and I mean no disrespect, but when it is a difference between that substantial amount of money between two bids, and we're possibly paying more for the experience so that we're not a guinea pig of someone who hasn't done, I mean, I am relying on Fishbeck. We're paying them to oversee that, and I would like to say that I have no qualms about that whatsoever, but quite frankly, after last week, I have some, because I don't believe we were given the direction that we were paying for in that regard. So I am at a crossroads, because I truly want the best interest financially, fiscally for the city, but I also know that this is going to be with what is the work that is done here, while either one most likely are 100% perfectly fine to do that. I still have some reservations about whether it's in our best interest for a wastewater treatment plant that is going to need to last longer than I'm probably going to be around. And so I'm really torn and really want to hear what everybody else has to say, because I do agree. Normally, the lowest bidder, it's not that substantial, and it's usually not this big of a project. I mean, the other biggest project, I mean, I've been on the Water Authority board since the beginning, and I understand, and I just would like some more reassurance that we're not saving money right now that may cost us more in the long run. And there's no guarantees. I get that. I just want to hear what everyone else thinks, because Michelle asked, we asked questions last week to make a decision, because it was out of the norm to choose someone that was not the lowest bidder. And so I'm still confused. And other than the dollar amount, I don't know anything more than the dollar amount.
I get it, and the conversation that and I apologize that I was out of state last meeting, and I wasn't here.
That's fine.
And so I wasn't here to say my piece, and
No, you're fine.
I understand some things, but with the information that I have gathered, I have a high degree of confidence that, Spence Brothers or either one can ride herd over any subs and make sure that the project is done completely, accurately, effectively, along with Fishbeck. I didn't hear any specifics that led me to believe that the subcontractors couldn't perform their duties.
Correct.
I mean,
The mechanical was what the big
yeah,
issue
and that was the subcontractor that I'm speaking of, and I didn't hear any specifics that led me to believe that they couldn't, if properly managed,
Right, and
take care of the
everybody's
project
gotta
for us
start
and do
somewhere.
it.
Right,
And
yeah, I get it.
so, not having any hard evidence to the contrary, I think
Going with the.
going with a little bit is the
And again, that's your
smartest thing to do.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm asking.
No, I mean, it's Greg's
Yeah,
opinion.
Yeah, I'm just asking, because and that makes sense to me, if all things being equal. If everybody thinks all things are equal other than the cost, then I guess we go with less money. Does anybody else have anything to offer to help my brain?
This is the best I can offer,
Yeah.
both for you
No,
and for
no,
the,
we're
and
just
for
talking-
the, no,
yeah,
and
I
for the
just-
public, and this is how serious it is. That's why we're having a special meeting. We
Well-
talked with them Tuesday, and here we are again, so.
And if I may, Mr. Mayor, we can also take any kind of questions to any of the bidders if we'd like, and have them provide any kind of information to the extent the commission desires.
If that's necessary at this
No.
point. I mean, they filled out the bid information and.
Yeah, I've had my questions answered, I think. Any other comments or questions? Is anybody willing to make a motion?
if I may, Mr. Mayor, just to remind the commission of the options, it would be to maintain the previous resolution that awarded the project to the second low bidder. It would be option 2 is to rescind that previous resolution and then award the project to the low bidder. And then option 3 is to rescind the previous resolution, award the project to the low bidder with the alternative mechanical contract.
Yeah.
So what was your opinion? What did you think about that? I guess, because that's additional money and it's still lower.
Yeah, I don't, personally, I don't see any need to take the alternative mechanical subcontractor. I think as long as you have a good general in place and they are responsible for that subcontractor, I think we can hold them accountable for it.
So you're saying go with the first, you're wanting to stay with the first mechanical, that's what you're
That's the
recommending?
lowest bid, yes.
The lowest bid.
The first mechanical.
That's,
Yeah, the conversation.
that's never done a wastewater treatment plant. So we're gonna have them come to Alma. All respect to that. I'm just saying the luck of Alma. That's what I'm nervous about, that someone, like, yes, you have a general contractor, I've worked in construction for many, many years. We asked for a bid, they submitted it, they had never done another municipal wastewater treatment plant. So they give us a second one that hasn't done it, so it's the same as it was last Tuesday. So that's where I'm on the fence, where I don't feel any different than I did last Tuesday, because we don't have a subcontractor that has done a municipality.
Has the Midwest Power Systems is the new mechanical contractor, right?
That would be the.
Suggested, yes.
Oh, yes,
Yeah, that's
With the-
the presented alternative.
A presented alternative. Have they done a wastewater system?
Last week, we were told that.
Apparently
They've done pieces, and it's the same thing with the previous one. They've done pieces. The meeting that we had today, that's, I think, what the mayor's referring to, is that there was no clear indication that with properly managing, over
If there was any
that, that it shouldn't be dealt with properly. The information we got today was, the sub, in the past, one of the incidences was they were both running as the general and as mechanical. That's not always the best thing sometimes. That's why I think when the mayor's making the comment of having the general overseeing the scheduling and dealing with that, they're accountable to us to make sure that happens. And then Fishbeck, as you both have mentioned, we're paying we've approved a
Right,
substantial
and they're
dollar amount to
capable of
oversee
that, I
this.
understand.
Yeah. So that's
But
where
so
we're at.
what, so if it doesn't, I mean, and we all know that you can, at best laid plans, things go wrong all the time. I spent 2 hours trying to get my computer to let me log in today for work, and then my power went off. Things happen with the best and experienced, things will happen. So just for the sake of discussion or argument, what happens if we approve this and we have the contractor, the general contractor, and Fishbeck, what happens to them if they don't perform properly?
As we talked about, there are performance bonds in the contract, in part of the process. So that sets money aside, funding aside. So if things go wrong, the money becomes available for us to access to make whatever corrections are necessary to carry out and finish the project.
In this big of a project, you would be better. You're having communication going back and forth, not just from Fishbeck and whoever the general is, but also our staff, because they're out there, and our staff here at City Hall too, looking over this project. And it does come down to some finances too. I mean, it's really why we're back here talking about it, is that amount. And it's a big difference between even 948, 539 to the 1,853,000. That's a big difference there too. And would we feel confident enough that having a general overseeing that, knowing more information, and I know Roxanne and I had a conversation about the frustration of Tuesday night, and I'm still frustrated too as well, and I know everyone here is. If it was explained in that, we'd probably be in a different space right now.
And that's, I just wanted to say that.
No, and you
as
have,
well,
yes,
so
and I appreciate you saying that, because that's what.
And I think both generals are more than competent, and
We didn't say they weren't.
No, but I think that's where you place your faith in a project like this, is you put your trust in the general to carry it out. And the reputation of both contractors, I can't imagine that they would have brought forth a subcontractor mechanically that they didn't have enough faith in. They're putting their reputation on the line too, and, that's a big reputation. They don't
Yes,
do that lightly,
money and
I'm sure.
reputation are the two things that
Yeah.
are the commodity for them here,
Absolutely.
yes.
So I put a lot of faith in the contractors. I think the reputations are very good in my opinion for both. And I have faith that they can carry out what they think they did. And I don't think they would have brought forth a mechanical that they didn't have faith in, that if they didn't think they had the ability to do it. I don't think they would want to work with them. So I would put my trust in the general to get it done. They know a lot more about it than I do. I'm not an engineer, I'm not a project manager, but, so you have to trust the experts, and I can't imagine they're going to bring somebody forth that isn't competent, and they didn't do their due diligence with this firm, the subcontractor. And, for that matter, even, conversations with the others, the Fishback didn't bring forth anything that scared me and said, oh, I don't think they can do this. There wasn't anything of that level. I mean, there's challenges with everybody. We all have problems and we all overcome them, but I think we can put our faith in the contractor to get the job done and move forward. Take the lowest bid.
Hearing what I have heard as opposed to what I heard last week, I make a motion for alternative B, that we approve a resolution to rescind the resolution of tentative award with E&L Construction Group and approve a resolution of tentative award with the original low bid to Spence Brothers.
Okay, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Let me be logical here for a minute. Support.
Okay, we have motion and support. Are there additional comments or questions? I'm hearing no questions. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no?
No.
Okay, so I am hearing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeses and 1 no. So the motion is carried. Okay. All right, thank you. I believe that concludes our business for this evening. Commissioner comments? Roxanne? You got anything to add?
Anything else to add? No, I don't. I mean, I am putting a lot of faith in Fishback that they're, I want to save money. I hope that I made the right decision, so.
Well, yeah. Roger?
I just kind of agree with that. I think when we are dealing with tens of millions of dollars here to deal with, and the little bits do make a big bit in the end, the $848,000.
Well, I guess that's another, why is there such a difference? I mean, if it's the same job, why is there a substantial difference in the cost?
I didn't write the contract, I don't know.
No, I know, but it's
Quite often-
after the fact, we've already approved it, but then,
It's what they're willing to.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Some people are hungrier than others, sometimes, any given day, right?
But I think along with the money, that I've got to have faith in everybody that the comments that I've heard around here at the table tonight are correct, that Fishbeck and Spence will do whatever they can to make this work. They've got a $37 million contract going on here, and you better not screw it up. So, and I think they know that going in, so.
Sonia?
I have no
Michelle?
comments.
Andrew? Okay. Sarah?
Thank you.
Nothing further from me.
Okay.
Nothing further. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Well, I thank everybody. I know this was a tough decision. It's unfortunate that it had to be such a rushed process. The timeline was very compressed with getting all this stuff done, and Yeah, there was some tough calls and some tough decisions and some tough reading for everybody, so I appreciate all the work that went into it from everybody, and I apologize for the contractor that lost out here, and it's tough, but I think we can put our faith in the lowest bidder and move forward.
Can I ask you a quick question? I just want clarification. Is that okay?
We have
Public comment written next.
Yes, we have public comment.
Yep.
So if there's members of the public who'd like to address the commission, please go to the podium, state your name and address, and you have up to 5 minutes to share your thoughts. So I'd like to...
Hi, everybody. Thanks for your time. I know it's late night and it's hot. I'm John Rand with Enel Construction, I'm our president. Yeah, and I understand how the process went down before, and I certainly understand you guys trying to save money. That makes total sense. I'm a taxpayer too, not here, but in a different town. Just to make sure I understand, what you've gone to be is the original low bid. Correct?
Yes.
I have no issue with that. It's a competitive process. It's fair to both sides. I would have taken issue with your other alternative to add money to them, because then I would have asked, can we negotiate to go down and be lower as well? So I appreciate you guys. Obviously, it's not what we wanted to see happen, but it was a fair process, and I have to leave it at that.
Thank you. I appreciate you
Appreciate it,
saying
and
that.
I apologize for the confusion,
Yeah.
because that's
Me too.
not the way we like to do things either, so.
Understood.
Anybody else care to address the commission tonight?
Real quickly.
Okay.
I'm Bob Spence with Spence Brothers, CEO. Appreciate the support, and rest assured, as your mayor told you, that we did not take it lightly when we included our mechanical contractor, trying to bring best value to the city when it comes to competitive bids, and put a lot of thought, a lot of effort into our estimate, and rest assured that we'll take care of you. So.
Appreciate that, and we're counting on it.
I know you are. I know. I heard.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else like to address the commission tonight? Seeing no one come forward, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
And motion support. Last chance for comments or questions. Hear none. All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Any opposed, no. Motion is carried. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you guys for coming here and traveling and going through the process with us. It is what it is sometimes, so thank you.